Hello and welcome back. Well, do you see these snippet strips that I have here today? Today, let's learn how to make them. I'm going to show you how I do it. So this is one that I recently made. I have a video that I've done that shows these all the way through. And then here's a small one. You can make these any size you want to. And all three of these and more are in my Etsy shop. But here's how we do it. So you can use anything. You can use a piece of muslin if you want to. It does not have to be anything special. But I usually use this right here. And this is a heavy, it's like an interfacing, but it's not fusible. It's not the fusible kind. It's just the sew-in kind, but you can tell it's pretty heavy. And I use this as my base, and then I start building on the base. Okay, so what I do is I take my base strip, and like I said, you can use fabric or anything you want to use, and I try to find a piece of lace or something wide enough to completely cover it and overlap the edges a little bit, so you can see how it's overlapping a little bit. If it's not wide enough to overlap, or if I don't like one of the edges, I'll add a strip of lace or something there. Okay, now if you don't have a stash of fibers and threads and silks and laces and whatever to do this with, check my Etsy shop, because I have just recently destashed and I have put a whole bunch, and dirt cheap, y'all. I'm trying to help you out. So all right, so we're going to start building onto this foundation, and I do this part on the sewing machine. All right, so I decided I don't really like that straight edge there. I want something pretty. And I've got this eyelet lace here, and it's got little kitty cats on it, and that's so precious. So I'm going to attach it here and let it overlap that side just a little bit right there. And then I'm going to start loading fibers and threads and all kinds of goodies on here, and then I'm going to take it to my machine. So what I do is I use my clips to hold everything in place. I wish I could get my camera over to my sewing machine, but I'll do my best to explain to you how I do it. Okay, so what I've decided is this one is going to be purple. So I pulled out these little strips, sari silk ribbons that I have in that color purple, and then I've also got this color purple, and I'm cutting them up into little pieces, and I'm going to show you what I do with them. I've already cut up all this lace into little pieces, and then I have this sparkle tool here that's in a beautiful lavender, sparkly lavender color. So I'm going to cut it up into little strips. I'll show you what I do with that. Now the tool I do a little bit different than the laces and all. So let's put all that over there. Then I take one end of my snippet, say I'm going to start on this end, and I'm going to start working. And so what I do with these guys here, I put this under my machine needle, put my needle down, stitch a little bit, and then I push this up under, and I stitch a little more, and I push this up under, and I stitch a little more, and all I'm doing is making a ruffle. But since I can't get my camera over there to show you, I wanted you to see what I'm going to do. So that's what I'm going to do with all these pieces at different intervals. I might put that one there, and I might put this one here. Now the tool, I take the tool, I doubt you can even see that piece in my hand, but it's just a little piece about that long, and I twist it around and around in the middle, and then I put it down on my strip and I stitch right over it. And then the ends will pop up like that. So it just adds a little fluff. So I kind of zigzag with a long, wide zigzag, and I just kind of meander back and forth all the way down, adding all these things. So let me show you what that looks like. Okay, so let me show you where we are so far. All right, so here's what we have. Okay, so let's see what we've got so far. This is how much I've done. So I did go back 2 or 3 times and add another piece and another piece and another piece, just kind of looking at it, kind of, you know, getting it spaced out kind of even. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start adding some eyelash yarns and fibers. So this does make a mess. I'll let you know that ahead of time. These little fibers get everywhere. This is pieces of fringes. And so I just kind of cut them up. So yes, I got a little mess here. I've got some purple eyelash, and I've got this fuzzy wuzzy soft mohair feeling yarn. So I'm going to show you how I do this. This is just my way now, guys. You can do it any way you want to. This is just what I do. But I just go in here and I start kind of zigzagging. And because of it being this yarn, this fiber type stuff, it'll kind of stick there where you want it to stick. It usually stays in place for me. If not, I can get my clips and I can clip it down. So, and then I'm going to add some eyelash, and I kind of go the opposite direction. Not that it matters too much. Some people say less is more, but for me, when it comes to making these things, more is definitely more. The more you put on it, the more you're going to like it. So I'm just a little extra there. I just kind of threw that in. Now these I'm not going to stick on yet because they'll fall off. But as I'm going down, I will stick that there. So I'm going to do some zigzags in around in here, and I'm going to have that all stuck down. All right, so I'm going through my stash and I'm pulling things that are purples and lavenders and things that I want to add. So I'm just, it takes a lot of supplies or a lot of little bits and pieces to do it the way I want to do it. Now this piece has got other colors in it, but I'm going to cut those out and just use these purples in here. This actually is a scarf that I made, I don't know when, a while back, and I don't really wear scarves anymore. So I started taking this apart because I loved this. If you could feel how soft that is. So I'm just going to pull some of these fibers off of that, and I'm going to add it into the strip. But let me show you what the strip looks like right now. Okay, that's after we put the eyelash yarns on and all that. So now I'm going to add these other ones. I want to show you how I'm doing this ribbon right here. I'm just kind of folding it over, making a loop, a little bit bigger loop, and then folding that in half so it makes it look like, excuse me, looks like a little bow. And then I just zigzagged right down the middle. Okay, so now I've added these little bows here out of this ribbon here. And before I go any further, I'm going to go ahead and figure out where my focal points are going to be. Now the focal point for me, and this again is just the way I do it, you know, you don't have to even have a focal point. But I like to have something right around in here, usually a vintage image or something, maybe another one here, maybe something right here. So before I fill it up too much, I want to figure out where those focal points are going to be, and then I can build around those to really enhance them. Okay, so I have chosen these two little vintage images for my focal points. So I'm going to put one there, and I think I'm going to take this kind of a little blank spot right there, and I'm going to put that one there. Now, you can stitch over these to stitch them in, or you can glue them in with Fabri-Tac or some kind of fabric glue. So now that I know where those are, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put just a little glue right on the middle and stick it down so that I can still get under the edges to add things that will enhance it. Okay, so what I'm using here is Fabri-Fix, but any fabric glue will do. And see how I just put a little puddle of glue right in the middle, and that will allow me to build around the edges of it and up underneath the edges if I want to add something else. So I'm just going to hold that for a second, and then I'm going to start adding some more fibers and things to it. Right now I'm seeing a lot of the darker purples, so I'm fixing to lighten it up just a little bit with some of the lighter lavenders and all. Okay, so let's look where we are now. Got those pieces in. I've added a flower here, a lavender flower here and here, and I've added little snippets of this lace right here. Here, let's see, there and there and there. And I added that mohair, that really soft stuff. It's all kind of in here. All right. Now this is some lace that I dyed myself. It was white, and it's so pale. It came out so pale that you really have to see a bunch of it like that to even tell that it's a pale lavender. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the little spots, and they always have spots. I'm going to find any little spot that I like, and I just cut me a little piece of lace. I fold it in half, and here's a spot that I think needs a little something. And since I didn't glue her down yet, see, I'm going to stick that right under there, and I'm going to glue that down. So I'm going to go through, and I'm going to fill in a few extra spots. Okay, now I've filled in a few extra spots. I don't know that if you can tell, but I can tell. And some of this I'm doing with hot glue. And I'm going to tell you, you got to have a finger if you're going to use hot glue. See my finger? I got these little silicone tips at Dollar Tree. And you get a pack of, I don't know, I want to say 4. But that way, when you put your thing down, your glue down, and you can just squash it and hold it, and it kind of cools off. So make sure that you have a finger for this project if you're going to hot glue. Now, I use fabric glue on a lot of it because I just think it is strong and I don't have to worry about it ever turning loose. But sometimes you got to have hot glue. Now, I'm back to the tulle again. The tulle is going to make some extra fluff for us. And according to what color, I might mix tulles and all, but since I'm just doing purple here, I'm just going to kind of leave it. So I'm cutting about maybe a 2 by 3 inch square, and I'm just going to gather it up like that, pinch it in the middle, and give it a twist or two, kind of like we did earlier, and then I'm going to fold it in half where I'm holding the twist in my hand, and see, I've just created this cute little fluff. So I'm going to go back and add this little fluff all up and down everywhere I think it needs a little extra something. Okay, and just in case I might have went too fast on that, I'm going to show you again. So it's about a 2 by 2 or a 2 by 3, it doesn't matter what size, and just kind of gather it up, pinch it in the middle. So I've kind of got a bow, and I twist it a couple of times, and then I fold it over, and I'm going to hold where the pinch is. So see, I've got this cute little fluff. I hope you can see that. So that's what I'm going to do. And then I just glue that end. I put a little hot glue, stick it up under something, and take my silicone finger and hold it down. Okay, here we are so far. And no, I am not done yet. All right, so I'm just going to take my scissors, and I'm going to go in here, and a few little pieces that are sticking out a little bit longer than I might want them to. I'm just going to give them a slight haircut because I want it to be pretty cohesive if possible. So we'll just give you a little trim right there. Oh, it's going to be so pretty. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add pearls and boho beads and charms and who knows what all else. Sometimes I add these little bows and things here, but I don't have any that are purple. That's close to a purple, but I don't think I will. Okay, so what I've got here is pearl dots. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through here, and I'm going to pick out the ones that are lavender, and I'm going to add some lavender pearls. Okay, so I've put some pearls in the center of some of these clusters, beads. I put a pearl on the little ladies here, one on hers. So there's white pearls and there's lavender pearls all through there. Now at this point, I'm pretty happy with it, except for I'm fixing to embellish it with the beads and all. So if you've used any hot glue at this point, you're going to want to take a heat tool and run it over here and get up all those glue strings, but do it very carefully because most of these fibers will melt. So let's get the beads now. These are some beads that I recently made, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through here and I'm going to pick out, see if you can see that beautiful bead. Gosh, I love these beads. I'm going to pick out some beads that are purple or have purple in them. There's another one of those that I made to look like a perfume bottle. And I usually put 2 to 3 beads up in, oh yeah, got to use that. All right, so there's 3. We're going to add those 3 to this. I'm going to show you how I do that. Okay, so each one of these beads just has a loop at the top. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a jump ring to the top of these, and then I'm going to attach them to a bulb pin, and I think I'm going to go, because that's kind of screaming purple, I'm going to go with lavender. Or I tell you what, I'll do 2 lavender, and I'll do 1 just in the antique bronze. And when I do my bulb pins, I like to add a little bead on there. So let me get the jump rings on there and I'll show you how I do it. Okay, and again, this is just how I do it, so you may have a better way. So I've got a little jump ring on the end of all 3 of those. So I take one of the bulb pins and some of my beads, and just make sure your beads are big enough to go, the hole is big enough to actually go in, because it's so frustrating when you try to do it and the hole's too small. And you can put as many as you want to on there. I've got 6 on that one. Close it up so you can see. All right, so I've got 6 little beads onto there. So I'm going to do the other 2. Okay, so now all I want to do is figure out where to dangle these. So I'm going to put that one right there. I want this one to be about right in there somewhere. And then this one will probably just hang right there. So I just go and pin it through something substantial. Now you don't want to just pin it on one little ribbon. You know, make sure you maybe go all the way through the back so that it's strong and it doesn't flop over. All right, so there's that one there. And let's pin this one in. Okay, so do you have to add boho beads? Of course not. I just like to. All right, so I've got a bead here, got a bead here, and I've got a bead here. And I forgot to tell you, I glued on that little wooden veneer of a vintage typewriter. Okay, so I could call this finished, but I know me, I like to go look through my stash and just see if I have anything else, any little charm or something. Oh, I know exactly what I want to add. I forgot about these. These are those gorgeous chains that are crystal. I have had these for a long time and I don't know where I got them, but you can order them anywhere, I'm sure. All right, let me get my cutter. Okay, so these are just some tiny nipper tool, I think they call them, wire cutter, whatever. And you can do anything you want to. I just usually snip off a few pieces of these crystals because they're absolutely gorgeous and they have the most sparkle. And then I'll just glue them in at strategic places. So let me do that. Okay, here we go, guys. I would call this finished. So I added boho beads. I found these little faux typewriter keys in my stash that I had made. I put one, to get it in frame, I put one here and I put one here. They're made of air dry clay, and then there was a printable that I bought from someone, I forgot who, and I printed it off, and so you just glue it, stick it on the top of the clay. I also added some pearl loops. I have strung pearls, you know, and these are kind of an iridescent color. Put some right there and put some right there. So now the only thing I've got left to do is to cover the back with lace. And of course that's optional, but I always just take a piece of wide lace and go down over that just to make it look more finished. So there it is. I hope that I have inspired you. I thank you for watching. I hope you'll give it a try. It is a lot of fun. So anyway, you'll be able to find this and many more in my Etsy shop. Thanks for watching, guys. See you later. Bye-bye.